Tony Averlant has fought for the European title, light heavyweight European title twice. He boxed Jürgen Bremer in Jürgen Bremer's 41st fight. Jürgen Bremer is a world champion, WBA light heavyweight champion. And Jürgen Bremer took this guy on in his 41st fight. This is Anthony Yarde's 15th fight. No amateur experience, as I keep on saying. You know, another fact of the matter is he fought Dominic Borcel. Dominic Borcel was 22-0 at the time. So these are guys that are known to the world boxing scene, guys that are established on the world scene, and this guy's taking them on. So he's a very experienced opponent, one that I feel that, you know, Anthony can develop further in his career. A new style, somebody tall, somebody who's a jabber. You ain't gonna get an opportunity to jab. I'll tell you that for now. But, you know, stylistically, it's another, a different look for Anthony.
I can see your measured approach. You obviously want Anthony to experience as many different opponents as possible in order to help him become the rounded fighter that you're after. I wonder though, because every time I speak to you or listen to Frank, it's almost as if more is required from Anthony. It's like we want to see what he's got. We want to see what he's got. But what if he gets in there and does what he's been doing? You know, I mean, when do we stop asking that question? Well,
it depends on what you mean by when you see what you want. You want to see what he's got. I mean, I keep on. I'll ask you that question. What would you like to see?
I'll be honest with you. I'm happy to see whatever comes next. I'm happy to see the story unfold. It doesn't matter which way it goes for me. I'm just excited by Anthony as a prospect. I'm just trying to ascertain what, you know, because Frank's like, there's still a few things there, you know, there's still a couple things we want to see, and I'm like, what?
You ain't seeing nothing that we don't want to see. You know, people keep on talking about this rounds business. People talking about chin, what's he going to be like? Well, listen, it's like I always say, I'm not training Anthony to see how good his chin is. I'm training him to test the other guy's chin. And in terms of fitness, you become a professional boxer to be just that, a professional. So if you're a professional fighter and you're thinking about can you go the distance, somebody ain't doing their job correctly, either the trainer or the fighter. In this case, this particular case, Anthony's doing his job correctly. I'm doing my job correctly. Frank Warren is doing his job correctly. The TV broadcasters, BT Sports, Box Nation are doing their job correctly. And it's just, as you say, it's a wonderful journey, and we're going to keep, it's not going to stop for a very, very long time.
What would you say, I mean, Anthony said himself that it was a great year, 2017. What would you pick out as some of the most poignant bits for you? What did he learn the most? Where did he come on the most in his terms of his development? And what disappointed you, if anything?
Well, let me just start with your last question. There's no disappointment.
Glad we got that out of the way.
You got to start with that first. And I can't, for the foreseeable future, I can't see there being any disappointment. Because Anthony Yarde, and I don't say this lightly, to me, Tunde Ajay, in my opinion, Anthony Yarde, in my mind already, is the best thing ever to come out of British boxing.
Already? That's a big statement, Tunde, and you're a man who's respected, so, you know, I know you're not throwing that out there lightly.
I told you, dream it, believe it, become it. I see what I see. And Anthony pointed it out in a press conference. He said, talking don't win fights. But I've had a studious eye from the very start of my career as a trainer, some 20 years. And I know what I see. I know what I got. And Anthony hasn't even touched the surface of what he's going to become. So, you know, everything is timing, and I just want to keep doing what we're doing.
Physically, he's a specimen. We know he can punch. Mentally, talk about his development over the last couple of years, because we're all from the same place, right? So I get it. You understand what I'm saying? The hype on the road. He's turning into somebody, you know, and that comes with its own pressures. So from you at close quarters, how is he developing in that respect? And you know, I know there's room for growth, but is he managing? Is he coping? Is it as you expected?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's anything that starts off perfect. Anthony came to me as a young man, 20 years old, and self-admittedly, he would say to you that he was very, very aggressive, always been very aggressive. But what I noticed was his capacity, was his cerebral capacity and his potential. And for me, as a trainer and manager, to watch that develop over the 2012, so we're talking about 6 years now, you know, it's been a joy. And I know that Anthony Yarde can do more. And see, people, they're just seeing Anthony knock people out. And they're seeing fights not last longer than 4 rounds.
That's what I'm asking about, is the other side to him.
So you got to remember, I have a system of boxing. My system is a cerebral system of boxing. So you get better as time goes on, because the system of boxing asks that of you, of the individual. And Anthony has been my star pupil. And the knowledge I have to teach him is infinite. He will never stop learning as long as he wants to learn. Because, as Anthony said, you bring a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. So Anthony is drinking from the fountain. And so I sound like a philosopher or something.
I mean, there's an air of philosophy about it, I must say.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Let me just pat myself on the shoulder.
Listen, I guess I had a question all lined up until you started talking philosophy, started making my mind wander. I guess I really want to know about how many fights he wants to have this year, how busy he wants to be, and, you know, should he knock this man out, who's next?
Well, nobody knows the future. If the fights continue the way they have been going, I think it's 7 or 8 first-round knockouts. I think 4 or 5 in the second round. Nobody's lasted more than 4 rounds. At that level, at that rate, I would like to see Anthony fight maybe 4 or 5 times this year. And but everything is time, and we just have to see. We just have to see, because, as I say, we're at a situation now where every opponent is going to train the hardest they've ever trained when they come to fight Anthony Yarde. And that's why we train even harder. So we'll see.
The question I forgot was you're headlining.
Yeah,
and it's the first time you're headlining, right?
Well, actually,
Or is it the second time?
it's the first time, you're right, but we actually headlined by default.
Yeah, at the Copper Box, right?
At the Copper Box. Billy Joe was supposed to fight, and we ended up headlining. But this is official. You know, it's a monumental date for me as a trainer and a manager. First time I've ever single-handedly taken someone from the scratch. So
Big yourself up for that, sir.
I have to, because I got people back at home down in Peckham, Dulwich, Brixton, all over South London. They're happy for me, and I just want to keep working hard for them.
All over London, Tony.
All over London, north, south, east, west. They all know me. They know what time it is. They know what I've been through. And Anthony's friends and family know what he's been through. So for the two of us, coming from the streets of London, to be showcasing live on BT Sports for the first time in our lives and our career, I don't think it's never going to happen. You can't showcase first twice. So we're happy, man. Me and Anthony, I'm so happy for him, because I'm a giver, you know, and I put others first before myself. So I'm happy for Anthony, and I just want him to keep on headlining shows.
Well, good luck. We'll talk Frank Buglioni after the fight, because I'm sure you saw what we put out recently, but that back and forth will go as long as you are on different broadcasters. But I hope it will happen one day.
Yeah, well, listen, you tricked me into talking about this. You think you're smart, but remember, I'm from the road. But listen, Saturday night is about Tony Averlant.
Of course.
But what I will say is this. Frank Buglioni continues to dig himself a hole. You now just said again to the listeners out there on YouTube, again for the second time, after you take another undefeated record in Callum Johnson, you're gonna smash Anthony Yarde's face. Well, guess what? Let's have it.
Say no more. On that note, thanks for your time, Mr. Tunde Ajay.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the interview.
Nice, sir. Respect, brother.